What is this?
Russian thistle.
I wondered about that.
Yep.
What's the best spray for it?
Pulling it.
Which one?
I would say pulling it.
Oh, yeah.
In order,
That's what I've been doing.
a lot of it needs a combination of herbicides now to be really effective.
I
So if
see.
you have small patches,
Yeah, we do.
disturbance is the easiest way to get rid of it.
Got it. Thanks.
We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order, and I think Nathan will be joining us shortly. Public comment on non-agenda items. Okay, and if there's anybody online out there that has any public comment at any time, whether it regards something on the agenda or a non-agenda item, please submit that. We monitor for it and want to make sure that it's considered timely. We'll move on to the approval of minutes from our, that'd be our July meeting.
I'll move for approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes as presented from the July meeting. Any further discussion? Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, motion carried. Moving on to the budget report.
So I didn't catch that when I got the new laptop, I didn't have Black Mountain accounting software installed on it to print that report. But we have been meeting quarterly with Bill Jarocki, who is the county CFO, to kind of keep the commissioners are keeping on top of budgets that way. And then he volunteered in January to come present how his accounting software looks at the budget.
Perfect.
It doesn't do anything different for as far as line items go, but it just puts it visually in a different. So he offered to come work through us that in January, February.
Perfect. Very good. Nothing out of the ordinary?
Nope.
Since we last met? Okay. Any questions for Jessica?
No.
Ongoing business, any update from the commission?
Nope, Debbie wasn't able to be here tonight because she had another meeting, but she didn't say that there was no business for her to
Okay.
bring to our attention.
Very good. Grants and MOUs.
We are working on finishing up some spray days in conjunction with some landowners in the Forest Service in the belts. We're going to do it most likely next week will be all of our aerial work for that. So we're doing a cheatgrass treatment and then we're doing a couple of test plots to see how Indazaphalam reacts to some of the other weedy species. There's some areas we've blocked off that have hound's tongue, mullein, and musk thistle. So we're hoping to do, it won't kill any of the plants from this year that have already germinated, but we're interested to see what it looks like in 2 years from that treatment. And then otherwise, we are working on drafting the biocontrol grant that we have been working on to do leafy spurge biocontrols, mainly from headwaters to Canyon Ferry. So we've been inventorying and have a good estimate of acres, so we'll apply for that through the Noxious Weed Trust Fund.
For which weed?
Leafy spurge.
Leafy spurge? Okay.
And your road and gulch work is pretty well completed.
Yep. So as far as the spray update, we've basically wrapped up our obligations for the season. We've hit some roads even up to 3 times this year for hitting hot spots. We've covered our portions of the Forest Service agreements and have really just had a really productive year as far as spray crews go.
So hot spots, what are?
Like, so if we find something that we missed or like something, oh, hey, there's this, we didn't see this the first time we went through.
Mhm.
So we've gone back and hit it again.
There were a few things that I noticed that I think were just late.
Yeah, there we had some like late blooming knapweed, like some
Mhm.
just late color that we went back at.
Mhm. And how long are you going to be doing this? Another until end of month, or are you
So,
just about done now?
We
with the weather
did,
coming?
we winterized today in advance of the cold snap.
Okay.
Then we'll look and see what the weather's gonna do
Mhm.
as far as if we pull it back out next week,
Mhm.
so,
You can't keep it in.
no. You can't say mean things.
Okay.
But as far as vehicle updates go, we're gonna take the Dodge in, it needs its AC redone this year. It is one of the items that we did put in the budget to replace. So I think we should start looking for our wish list of what you guys would like to see for that vehicle over the winter.
Mhm. Okay.
Then otherwise, we've winterized everything. I think if we do go back to spraying, we'll only put out one unit. We won't pull both
Right.
out of.
Yeah. The Dodge was a heavier truck too,
Yeah.
wasn't it? It was like a 3/4 ton or 1 ton?
It's a 1 ton
1 ton,
dually.
okay. Okay.
The trailer that you were having issue, there was
It's fully repaired.
that one.
Yep.
We were
Yep, we got that one fully repaired.
Howdy.
Good day.
Cool.
Nathan, you can grab one of those if you didn't print it.
Any other questions in regard to, I guess, let's cover the 3 grants and MOU, spray, update, and vehicle and equipment, and we kind of morph them all together.
I don't have any questions. I guess the question I have when you're the Rejuver, what project was that? Was that a grant? The grant? Or
No, so this is a Forest Service.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
this is a Forest Service agreement.
Okay. Good. Thanks. That's all I have.
And that's your aerial app.
Yep.
I'm curious to see how that.
The work that we did initially there looks really impressive. Tracy and I are going to put a presentation together that it's impressive what it looks like now out there. Yes,
Where are we?
we're in Townsend. No, we're talking about a Forest Service agreement in the Belts area and a treatment that we have scheduled aerially for the next week or two.
Where, just in the whole belts,
So
or
like,
just-
the Forest Service abounding Hidden Hollow, some of the BLM and state sections over there.
Okay, the hideaway.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Any further questions? Very good. We'll move on to new business. I'd like to flip-flop our items here, I
Yeah,
think,
please do.
if that works. And we got a noxious weed management plan to
So, this landowner is not doing a subdivision. He just wanted to put a weed plan on file with the county. So, I went out and we toured his property. He does live right on the river in that Missouri River Estates, subdivision. They're very interested in doing, herbicide-free treatments. The wife is undergoing cancer treatment and just doesn't want any other exposures. So as we walked through his property and kind of identified the weeds, I gave him solutions for kind of the different species we encountered. And the reason he chose, we talked about leafy spurge, is that the patch of leafy spurge is right along the river. And so I thought the safest choice for him was to use Roundup there rather than trying to get a contractor to do what small square footage of Tordon or appropriate herbicides in that area. We talked about how he's not going to get rid of it, he's just going to reduce it. So, but yeah, he's just mainly interested in having his plan on file with the county, and then any recommendations that we might have for him.
How big of an area along the river is it that he's got?
It's like a 2-foot patch.
So it's small.
It's very small. If you look on his map, the driveway, this are the area where the knapweed is mostly located is in that little hilly area.
On the front part of the property?
Yep, that borders the road.
Okay.
But the knapweed isn't so bad that he can't pull it. He already has it irrigated. He does have a number of trees planted there. So I feel like that's his best. It's so small. It's something you could just pick a day, do 5 feet, go out the next day.
Mhm. Tordon is a restricted use product, but it's not, there's not a water.
There is a setback for
There is-
water.
Oh, there is, okay, all right.
50 feet.
Yep.
It is, okay.
But he also will be part of that biocontrol release if we get him.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know that I know of any better treatment option.
And not in the base, the area is too small for an applicator to even
Right.
come out and like,
Or, yeah, or apply for our,
yeah, he doesn't have enough to do
Right.
the
The cost share
Yep.
base. Yeah, yeah.
it's very minimal.
I think what's put together looks reasonable.
Yeah,
Other thoughts?
I mean, you've already looked at it. Did you helped him do this, didn't you?
Yeah.
So, I mean, our bases are covered there. I'd say it's probably one of the better plans you did. So, I make a motion to accept Chief Management plan if we need one. I don't even know if we need one.
He just wanted, we do have it in there that if they have the plan on file and a neighbor were to complain, then he can't be put in non-compliance.
As
So,
long as he's compliant.
yeah, but if he has the plan on file and is doing
Yeah,
something,
yeah. No,
so, and the fact that he has it outlined that he's gonna pull these and, so,
Yeah,
It's proactive.
yeah, no,
Appreciate
I'm,
it. Yeah.
Jessica, I'll make a comment that the map that he has strikes me as quite exceptional.
no, it's very well done.
Yeah. Very detailed.
So it's been moved to accept this weed management plan as it's presented. Is there a second? Okay. Been properly moved and seconded to accept our weed management plan as it is presented. Is there any further discussion? Discussion?
No.
Discussion? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Right.
Aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. I'm glad to see the proactive approach.
Yep, I am too, no way.
All right, looking on now toward the county plan, we've kind of gone through it piece by piece over a number of meetings and wanted to kind of give the whole thing one last review here.
So I caught a couple of things and if you're,
Yep.
I would like to include the cost share plan on the document. I didn't think about that when we were doing our initial discussion. And I thought it'd be appropriate to put after the non-compliance policy, just as its own document. Or like the language that we use, not the plan itself can be an appendice, but the language about the program and why it was.
And all that, yeah. No, I think that's a great suggestion. I didn't think of it either.
And the other thing that I would like to do is take the gravel pit form and make it gravel pits, utility, and right-of-way. Include other areas of disturbance in our, it's not attached, but it would be very similar to our other plans as far as information that we require and structure. But I'd like to kind of make a utility category that would cover gravel pits, any other disturbance to the land that's not a subdivision, basically.
I think that makes sense as well. Thoughts?
Yeah, I got one. What about the big utility?
That is what spurred me to include this in the document,
Okay,
is that conversation. So,
so they would have to be compliant.
I don't know how, what,
That's, I'm just wondering if we did non-compliance with them, are we gonna turn into a wormhole?
I think that if, I would rather have them see something than not address it at all.
I totally agree.
But I have seen other counties successfully put the railroad in non-compliance. But
I'm
it,
all for it.
a lot of it just depends on other factors.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm fine with it, I'm just
hmm
checking, see if there is anything on that.
And I don't know how the notification process goes, like, who gets notified when these projects are starting? Like, how do they know that I want this from them? Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know where that information comes from.
No, because would we retrofit this?
So this could,
Back on some of those guys though?
no,
Because-
so this could go into effect as far as the 1st of January, once we,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
I understand that, but like the railroad, the high power lines going through
No, I think it would only affect new
new
construction,
construction?
yeah, or major improvement.
Okay, and,
I don't think we could go back and ask them to do one after the fact.
so if they want to do anything though, they
No.
have to do it. Okay. Yeah, I think it'd be great. I mean, the railroad and the high power lines are horrible.
And if they cut other things through, it could be,
Yeah.
it could be a lot. Yeah, but if you have any ideas on how that notification will go about, that's what I don't know.
Could we reach out to any other counties about,
Yeah, I can ask what their, Christian might have a good idea of it, Lewis and Clark County.
to find out
Yeah,
if there's,
because they have very active as far as that kind of thing goes.
yeah. And, I mean, maybe rather than try to recreate the wheel or something from that aspect, maybe find out what is already working and maybe we can work with that.
Yep.
Okay.
But those are the two things that I have caught just today, looking through it for the millionth time.
I guess in terms of development too, is jurisdiction around Bureau of Reclamation, or, around the lake and such too.
So a lot of the BR land has contracted services.
Okay.
So they have, I don't know what their reseeding looks like as far as that goes, but they do have weed control contracted out.
Right. Okay.
Either to the campsite managers or to contractors themselves.
Including new development.
Yeah.
Okay.
but I don't know how that goes on federal land. Some of these things are gonna go through private land, and I feel like that gives a little more,
Mhm.
but yeah, I don't know how. If they weren't doing anything, then we could come in with non-compliance, but, you know, as they're working on it, I don't know how the rest of it would fall out.
I certainly see the fluctuating lake level as a huge vector.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah,
The last thing that I want to do this season is do a secondary survey of the lake. We had some reports years ago of salt cedar on the lake. So I wanted to see if it's still there, or if we've gotten anything else.
Right. Okay.
But that'll just depend on if we get time between everything else and the water freezing.
Sure.
But that one doesn't need to be warm to do.
Okay.
I didn't see anything further that, when I looked through it, did any of you have anything?
I didn't, to be honest, I didn't go through it as closely as I did the first time, so I think,
I checked all our codes. Actually, Grace double checked all of the county acres.
okay.
So,
I guess the only, I don't know, to be consistent, we could maybe use the Latin names with these ones too.
yeah, I will go through and do that.
Oh, yeah. But that's nitpicky.
Does anybody object to the two suggestions that Jessica had, or any issue there?
Perfect.
Yeah,
No.
no, I didn't, so.
So then what I'll do is I'll put together a complete package with all the appendices, so we can outline any weird formatting issues, and I'll send that out in an email before the November meeting. I did state that we're going to reduce duplicate pages in the appendices, so if it's the first time a page will include it on a plan, it'll be there. If it's new, or if it's a duplicate, then it'll just say
Refer back.
refer back to
Yeah.
this, because otherwise we'll have 140 pages.
Yeah, no, I think that's good.
So,
Yep. Very good. Well, we'll take one more review of this next month, and hopefully be at a point where we can make a decision there.
mhm.
Very good. And I guess that brings us to the round table. Anything further, Jessica?
So Nathan alluded to it, but I had gotten a call yesterday from Herb Agabright about the pipeline that is in discussion going the length of the county. And he was really concerned that we have something in place for weed control as far as utilities go. So that was where looking at that again came from.
Okay.
And so it is the right time for us to put it in the plan.
Yeah.
So. But according to him, they're not looking for construction until 25 or 26. But if our ducks are in a row now, then
Yeah.
we're in better shape.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sorry, which pipeline is this?
It'd be a natural gas
Yes.
line that
Okay, not a water line.
is coming through it. No. I believe it's a natural gas line, if I understand it right, to connect Helena and Three Forks essentially and complete a circle. Would have service, if I understood it correctly, to Townsend at a minimum.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to address because it is a
Yep.
potential.
Yep, and it lets us be
Place for
ahead
problem.
rather than playing catch up. So.
Yeah. Yep.
Jessica? Are we finished with that? I got a round table matter I'd like to bring up.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is, was asked to just talk with you all about the fact that golden weed, as was described to me, about 8 feet tall, 6 to 8 feet tall, is pushing in from the southeast down from Wyoming, coming up into us. And he was wondering, he's a rancher in Ottaponi, and he was wondering if anything is on the table for that. And is it considered a noxious weed in Montana?
What is he calling it?
He called it golden weed. I don't know if that's a slang.
I don't know if that's
It's not spurring anything for me with the 6-foot description and being golden weed didn't pull up anything appropriate in my search.
Gotcha, because when we were traveling down through there a couple of years ago, and he took a picture of me standing in front of it, and it was taller than I am along the road. But it probably is just a local term that he's using. I'll see if I can get a better term from him.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it could be goldenrod if it was the fall. I mean, goldenrod is out and it can be tall, but I'm not,
That tall, striped, maybe something else maybe.
yeah.
thing
It's
that I'm
coming up
thinking.
from Wyoming, he was saying.
It's not on our watch list.
Gotcha.
Unless it is the tansy,
But it's not that.
not really golden though.
No, and common tansy is I mean, yeah. I haven't seen, I mean, I'm short, but it's not much taller than me.
Got it, thanks. And if you aren't familiar with it, it's probably not on the,
And tansy ragwort doesn't get that tall.
No.
right.
See if you can get either a picture of it
Mhm.
or more
Yeah.
formal.
Okay, I'll do
Yeah.
that.
Anything further?
Nope.
Anything further, Peter?
No, sir, that's it for me, thanks.
Nathan? Wes?
No.
Gordon?
I don't think I have anything new and exciting that I've.
Oh, I
can
did
say.
tell Gord about, we've
Oh.
had a couple more Palmer amaranth plants found in Montana. They've all been male. They've been in the Carter County part of the state. So we are still watching for it.
So if they're male plants and they have not produced
Yeah, they're,
seed,
yeah, they
so
won't.
they've been brought in
Yep.
in some form or another.
Yeah, they
Right.
came in as a seed and germinated as male, and they don't have a counterpart to reproduce. They are dioecious, so one plant has to be male, one plant has to be female for them to reproduce. So they don't exist on the same plant.
And it's an amaranth?
Mm-hmm.
Which species of amaranth?
Palmer.
Palmer.
So it's I think it's Amaranthus palmeri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Palmary?
Yeah.
That's a wetland grass?
No, it's actually technically it's a native plant in Arizona, a desert plant that's moved and become a very serious agricultural product, and because it is dioecious, it has developed some very significant chemical resistance, like resistance to Roundup, which agriculturally is, I mean, this is a
Yeah.
game changer for everyone. So, and that's why we need to restrict it, but you can't, it's not something you can put an embargo on because technically it originated as a native plant. And it's very, very unique in that way.
Mhm.
So.
Actually, I do have one thing. How, for meetings coming up, this usually gets you busy. Has any of that stuff started coming across your desk yet or not? Like conferences?
Yep. So I've done a whole bunch of conferences this month. I will be done with them at the end of next week,
Okay.
and then we'll have our annual conferences in January. So
Where will that be?
the MWC annual conference will be in Great Falls.
Great Falls this year?
Yep.
Yeah, thanks. Dates, do we have them yet?
I do have them, I don't remember them.
Oh, okay, I'll just check then, thanks.
I think it's the last week in January, but
Got it, thanks.
there are too many dates in my head right now.
Well,
Yeah.
just-
But yeah, we've done a whole bunch of fall trainings, conferences, board meetings.
I do remember the cycle.
Mhm.
Just wondering if there's any coming up that
Um,
you need to be aware of or not, and that's all.
If you're interested in participating in the discussion, the Montana Invasive Weed Species Council is meeting in November in Helena. And there is a push to get more terrestrial weed representation in MISC. There's some concern that we're starting to be ignored in the invasive species broader category. November 12th and 13th, or 13th and 14th.
Anything else?
No, I just popped in.
All right. I don't have anything. Anything for discussion at all?
Well, I'm just thankful to be here, actually. I don't know anybody in this room. I've never met anyone. I've been involved in weed management since about 2007 with the Bureau of Reclamation. The superintendent for a hydroelectric facility and the superintendent for a river corridor in Idaho and Oregon, known as the ION. And
So did you guys do a lot of all taxa, or was it all weeds?
Everything.
Okay.
Oh yeah, everything. Very involved in every plant, every species. Oregon is very thorough at their investigative efforts, more so than the federal level, which is kind of sometimes difficult for me to participate in. Because I'm following federal guidelines, but the Oregon state is through the roof. But no, so I'm married to Montana, so here I am.
Very good. I'm glad to have you.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
And then for those of you who may not remember, Grace was one of our seasonal hires this year.
Yep.
So it's been very nice to have her skill set this summer.
Thanks for coming tonight.
You get enough hours?
Get an idea what goes on.
Kept you busy enough?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Going back next year. Jack.
Anything for a roundtable discussion?
No, just listening. This is my first ever county meeting going to, so I was just curious on how you guys do your things for this. So
Fair enough.
Great.
Glad to have you here.
We're gonna pick your brain a second now that we know what it is in Since you did most of the spraying, well, you sprayed, what end of the county is worse than the other? Is there bad spots that you think we need to work on more than others? Because you're the one out there spraying it. We drive them, but you're the one out there spraying it.
there was definitely a few spots this year that was I told you, I was we need to hit this again for sure.
Yep.
But I mean, for worst end of the county, I think they're all kind of spread out very well. But
I guess the end of the county wasn't how.
Where are the problem spots, I think is what he was asking.
Up against the forest, or?
well, I mean, I think.
Sorry, put that.
Sorry. I believe one of them I remember was Duck Creek, I remember, and that goes into Forest Service. But I also know that, and I don't know your guys' county histories that well, but I believe there was a fire up there at one point. And it seems like there's weeds going in, getting there, but I feel like we kind of tackled it fairly well. What other areas? There were just areas,
But it wasn't like, so it was spotty, like
Yeah.
it can be, but nothing, like.
Oh my God, the north end of the county is the worst I've ever seen in my life. How can anybody?
Yeah, like I've, just some roads, I just remember telling Jess that we probably should go back and hit, like in the fall, that we hit in early spring. And when we went back, I mean, there was either what we sprayed was dead or new stuff came up, so that's what I was just noticing. But again, this is my first season working for this county, so I don't know what historically you guys have had.
No, that's what I'm asking, because you've never seen it, so.
I mean, it's just, to me, seems fairly spread out, and what we're doing seems to be working, so.
Good. Yeah.
And one of the things that may have not helped in some of the ways is that if her crew did roads X, Y, and Z, I had her crew do A, B, and C, and the other crew do X, Y, and Z for the fall tree, for when they were crossing. Just,
No,
yeah,
yeah.
it may helps and hurts in some ways, but different eyes, different things, so.
Yeah.
And I definitely think her having 3 people this year helped her versus what I was understanding from last year.
It was one person.
Yeah,
I
so,
imagine.
I mean.
No, it's been very, very thankful.
Yeah, and,
I mean, I definitely think this year was,
And then we did a large chunk of the highway contracts this fall. So.
Thanks for your work.
Yes.
for
Thank you.
hiring me.
So the Montana Invasive Species Summit is November 14th at the Delta Hotel in Helena. If you guys are interested in going, let me know and I'll get you registered.
just one day.
Yep, just one day.
It's
Someone else is at a conference.
Invasive Species
Council.
Council.
It does play into another thing I forgot to tell you is the Department of Ag hired a education specialist, Megan Hoyer. She was with Yellowstone County for a long time as their education outreach, and she is amazing. But it is worth noting that she was hired under the all taxa category.
Do you happen to know the
Where?
hours?
Sorry, what?
Do you happen to know the hours that that's in session?
I'm going to assume 8 to 5.
55 probably. Mhm.
They don't have the agenda online.
Got it.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. All that being said, our next meeting be November 19th. And we'd move to winter hours.
Yep.
In that one. And so it would be at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
And meeting's adjourned.